John Lennon, frontman of the worldwide musical sensation The Beatles, was shot dead outside his residence in New York City on December 8, 1980. He was mortally wounded by 4 shots, fired by a man named Mark David Chapman, who admitted to wanting to kill Lennon so he could become famous. When news broke of Lennon's death, the entire world stood still. TV networks in the US stopped their Monday Night Football broadcast to announce that John Lennon had died. His murder meant that there could never be a reunion of the Beatles, which is regarded to this day as one of the greatest musical acts of all time. One has to wonder, what would the world be like today if John Lennon wasn't assassinated? Hello and welcome back to Life's Biggest Questions. I'm Charlotte Dobre. Don't forget to like this video, share it with a friend, and let us know in the comments below what topics you would like to see next. The Beatles had officially broken up in 1970 when Paul McCartney announced that he was going to be leaving the band. It was the end of a long transition. All 4 members had begun to work on solo projects by 1970, after they all realized the band would probably not get back together. John had begun to work on his solo music, which was popular and well received. He also became an outspoken activist. John was openly opposed to war. If he were still alive today, it is likely he would have been a critic of the Iraq War. He also would have become more involved with activism if he had not been assassinated. John Lennon wrote iconic anti-war songs like Imagine and Give Peace a Chance, which was sung by 250,000 demonstrators in Washington, D.C. He was involved in concerts to raise awareness of the anti-war and Vietnam movement, one of which almost got him deported by Nixon himself. Lennon would have continued to use his fame and skills as a musician to inspire change and peace, making headlines for his anti-violence inspired publicity stunts. The Beatles were all trying to reinvent themselves with their solo projects. John would have continued to do this throughout the years, getting more and more experimental with each album. John would have also probably had more children with his wife Yoko Ono. Perhaps they would have engaged in more bed-ins for peace, public protests where they would stay in bed for days at a time, which they dubbed a type of performance art. But as we have seen in many cases over the years, it is likely that the world's most beloved band would have healed their wounds over time and eventually reunited. Both Paul McCartney and Ringo have said in the past that the Beatles would have reunited if John and George were still alive. In fact, in Lennon's contract with Columbia Records, he included a clause in which he would be free to make music and perform as the Beatles. Much like the Rolling Stones, the Beatles would have done major world tours every few years. They once said that the reason why they stopped touring was because they couldn't hear themselves play over the screaming girls. As they got older, so too would their audience. Add in improved sound technology and the reason the Beatles had for not touring would disappear. If the Beatles continued to tour throughout the years, the younger generations would have had the privilege of getting to see one of the most influential bands in history play live. How do you think the world would be different today if John Lennon hadn't been assassinated? Let us know in the comments below. Hello and thank you for watching this video. On this screen you will see a link to our Patreon page, where you can support this channel by donating as little as $2. Donating and supporting will ensure that all types of content continues to get produced by us. If you would like to keep watching LBQ, check out this video over here. What if Martin Luther King Jr. wasn't assassinated? Thank you for watching Life's Biggest Questions, and we'll see you in another video.